Thank you for those kind words, dear industry friends and my friends from Nagpur, invited guests, and I'm Nagpur students. I'm proud of my organization. I am Ahmedabad, and it is well known that IIM Ahmedabad has probably the best industry academia interaction that one can see anywhere in the world. I have exposure outside India also in academic field. I think it's unparalleled. And as a mentor institute, attempt is there to have more and more industry academia, and not just industry, government academia interface is also another thing which we would again work at IIM Nagpur as well. So that is something which we take pride in. That is simply unparalleled in the world. And of course, one collateral damage is you have to go through a lot of case studies and so on. But that's really going to mean 10 years down the line, you are going to say that those cases were really relevant, and they helped us have a pip into what happens in practice and so on. So that's the main idea. How do we strengthen this industry academia interaction? And to start with, we are going to have this functional experts coming in, and today's theme is HR in new age. Exciting times for sure. One is definitely, they briefly mentioned about business environment. It's so uncertain. Slightly relating to my research in food supply chains, and there again specifically, food service marketplaces and aggregators. In last 2 years, we have somewhat more details available with us for 19 firms in India. And the moment we start documenting and dissecting some firm, you know what happens? Their business model changes. Some of the companies have vanished. HR managers have vanished. Yes, so uncertain, so unpredictable. Zomato was a marketplace. Now they are into food delivery. Lots of challenges. I look more on technology, supply chain, logistics side, but there also we see there are huge challenges. It could simply be related to dealing with delivery boys, because no matter what technology you have in place, you may have the ultimate service delivery mechanism, but when service delivery boy comes to you, that's where the service encounter happens, and all your efforts may simply go in vain. Yes, even that last mile employee is extremely crucial, and what are you going to do about that? Yes, so it's a simple example, from food service, but again, digital era is definitely there. Government is pushing for Startup India, and the startups again are in the digital field, mainly with due respect to other industries. Yeah, so again, so many things happening there, but it's too uncertain. People have started calling it lazy economy, and it's definitely growing. For everything we need an app. Yeah, and there are lots of challenges. I don't have any answers. I'm definitely looking forward to this session to have some answers there. So in general, I'm simply talking about too much uncertainty there, too many things happening there, and especially with startups. And again, it seems some funds have dried up. So again, what are those good models which will work, which investors see value in, and of course, prospective customers must definitely see. Yeah, and again, in this environment, how do you manage our human resources? Extremely crucial, because things are changing. Even top bosses do not have clarity, or if they have clarity, clarity changes on the day. Yeah, so extremely tricky part, and again, managing human resources is extremely tricky part there, but that is something which we need to manage. Then, of course, along with this, of course, technology, automation, digitization, I think is the other thing which has impacted us in every walk of life. Given my background, I know Henry Ford tried to make machines out of human beings long back, but that's what is happening everywhere. So a lot of mundane jobs may be mechanized, but then what simply we are looking at, and more, especially progressive companies are definitely focusing on knowledge workers, and how do we take care of that. And again, you may want to make these machines robo as well, but after all, they're all human beings, and again, how do we take care of that? Yeah, extremely tricky part in technology driven world. Yeah, again, so many advances happening, and how do we change our practices? How do you, retain, engage, and all those aspects? Third one, which in my view is extremely crucial, is some social issues. Few studies which I have gone through. There's particular striking example from China when the government pushed for single child policy. I don't know whether that's a concern in India at this point in time, but that may be something which is going to hit us soon, because it seems, there are positives and negatives as well. One, for example, purely speculative, and some references from limited studies conducted, that first of all, there is no sibling rivalry. So because of that, probably you are not in a competitive mode every now and then. Other damage which may happen is, in general, you are not a team member. This is stereotyping, but yes, probably there are going to be implications there, because in China it has happened already. These kids have joined the workforce. At our end, that's going to happen, if not tomorrow, 10 years down the line. A lot of families with single kid, and they grew totally differently, and when they join workforce, will they be good team members? Especially in knowledge economy, you want teams to work together and so on. Again, definitely challenges there. They are not probably geared, at least in their childhood, to get firm instructions. Yeah, and probably they never get to hear no to any of their requests and so on. So, I don't know, I'm purely speculating, because when these new kiddos join there, and again, someone at our end has a term for that, this generation is IPA generation. IPA generation, because the first word someone told me new generation utters is not mama, but they look at iPads around, and probably the first thing they say is IPA, PIPA. I don't know. Yeah, but totally different generation, and different challenges. Generation gap definitely is there. And of course, another fallout, or reality that's already there, at least in the Asian context, lifetime employment was more or less the norm. At our end, at least in Ahmedabad, when I asked some student who is happy and throwing party about his placement and nice salaries there, I'm looking at this job probably for 2 years. Yeah, probably companies are also quite okay with that. If brain drain happens, it's a problem. If drainage goes out, most welcome. So yeah, so that's there. But there are challenges there. Every now and then you have to have this massive recruitment drive, and all of us know if one has to go through regular channels of recruitment, newspaper ads, thousands and thousands of application, and it's definitely a big burden. And you have to do this again and again every 2 years, and again, a huge cost on training and getting them molded for their business needs and so on. So again, I think that's going to be a challenge, that lifetime employment no one is looking at, though employers also like that part. But yes, there are, this employee turnover is definitely a concern. Another one which is hitting us, and there, of course, again, societal pressure, in my view. In academics also, we face that standard RTIs and government kick queries. Newspapers are after us. What's the diversity at IIMs? Yeah, key concern there. Diversity definitely plays a role in academia. It definitely plays a role in industry as well. The progressive companies are definitely taking corrective actions, but then are prospective employees geared for that is the question. And some little exposure I have. Cummins, for example, Pune-based Cummins, India. Typical manufacturing for a company, sweatshop perception, everyone carries about them. You'll be surprised to hear that they have 45% women employees. Again, totally unheard of, and that's happening not in service sector where one expects ratio to be slightly better, but that's happening shop floor environment as well. Something remarkable, and progressive companies are definitely looking for that. Yes, there is, of course, with multinational, that pressure is even higher, but that is something which we have to even, here gender ratio is skewed. We have to just ensure that, well, it's not just the diversity on the gender ratio, but again, in global organization, one has to deal with people from various cultures and so on, and little bit appreciation is something bare minimum, which all of us must have. I have a long list, but I think I should leave that to experts are definitely very challenging, uncertain times. Digitization is putting a lot of pressure on us. Yeah, so even at our end on job front, again, too much uncertainty. Family front, work-life balance. There are so many issues which one is worried about, and one is definitely finding answers for this again and again. So I would leave answer. I mean, I can only raise questions and just because that's not my expertise, but those are the issues which definitely bug us even in academics, and definitely going to hit us in industrial setup. So I'm going to leave that to the experts in HR domain, new age HR, digital HR. That's the theme. So I'm looking forward to learning from industry experts, because that's why we have this industry interaction. Yeah, again, it has to be mutually beneficial. Today we are going to extract much from them. At some point in time, yes, we will definitely provide raw material to you. Yeah, and yes, that's the intention to start with. So all the best, and for this day's proceedings, and we just look forward to your inputs. Thanks a lot.